I want to now turn to Keith Mackey. He is president of Mackey International Aviation Safety Consultants. He is also a retired pilot. Keith, thank you for hopping on with me. You specialize in accident investigation. I think the big question on everybody's mind this morning is how in the world does something like this happen? You know, I'm a private pilot myself, single engine, so very different from commercial. But, in my mind, too, I'm like, just using visual flight rules, how were these two planes not in each other's line of sight to change altitude at the last minute? What have you gleaned from what we've learned?
Well, we've learned recently that the helicopter and the airplane were on different frequencies. So the airplane may not have known that the helicopter was there. The helicopter apparently acknowledged having the airplane in sight and that they would pass behind them. The question becomes, what aircraft did the helicopter have in sight? Was it a different aircraft? So that complicates the investigation a little bit. Now, Reagan National is a very difficult airport. It's a small airport. The longest runway is 6,800 feet. And consequently, the size and capacity of the airport is limited because of the runway situation. There are 3 runways. They form a triangle, and they all intersect each other. So you can't use one side for takeoff and another side for landing. They would have to be spaced properly, and that was the case here. We apparently had an aircraft taking off north on runway 1, and the tower asked the accident aircraft if they could land on runway 33, which would enable them to fly a slightly longer course, giving the aircraft taking off a little more time. This is not unusual, and that was the situation.
Talk to me, Keith, about this. You talk about, this being in D.C., this is Class B airspace that you have to have clearance to fly in. So this wasn't just a student pilot tinkering around in a small Cessna. This was a commercial airliner and a Black Hawk helicopter. What do you take from the fact that this was a training flight for that military chopper?
Well, an awful lot of military aircraft engage in training flights frequently. And it's not unusual to have a flight classified as a training flight. The helicopter was based in Fort Belvoir, Virginia, which is about 20 miles south of the accident site. So presumably they were probably returning to that point, crossing the river, and that's where the accident occurred during that point. So we'll soon find out if perhaps the helicopter was looking at the wrong airplane or what the situation was there. All this information has been captured on the cockpit voice recorder, the digital flight data recorder on the airplane, as well as the radar tracks and communication tapes of what happened on the ground. And we'll soon have the benefit of that information.
Yeah, we're going to be briefed all day long. We're expecting our next press conference on this in just about an hour or so. I got to end it there, but Keith Mackey, thank you for joining me last minute and on such a devastating day.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.